Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Tremors 3, Back in Perfection, starring Michael Gross, Sean Christian, Ariana Richards, Susan Twang, Charlotte Stewart, Tony Gennaro, and Robert Jane, and directed by Brent Maddock. Let's just get into this because, again, I'm a newbie. In El Chaco, Argentina, Burt Gummer, returned by Michael Gross, shows the newscast reporters how to shoot the what do you call it, the shriekers from the last film, which did feel kind of funny as the military man smiles while shooting them, or should I say Burt smiles while shooting them, and as the news people are hiding in their trucks. Meanwhile, back in Perfection, Nevada, Burt goes back to his hometown to as graboids are comic books and a tour theme park, which is pretty damn dangerous for the world to witness a graboid ambush, because what if it happens for real? That's the dangerous thing. The tour is led by Desert Jack Sawyer, played by Sean Christian, and the movement controlled by Buffer, who's Jack's assistant. And these two are morons to pull off a theme park like that, because he should know how freaking dangerous it is. And Jack was the problematic character for me throughout the movie. The park's cashier, Jody Cheng, played by Susan Twang, I don't know if I'm saying that right, please forgive me, is taking advantage of Jack and for the ice and drinks, and she's just a pathetic character. Meanwhile, Mindy from the first film is back and returned by Ariana Richards, whose only best is in Jurassic Park the original. Not so much the Lost World, because to me, she's really bad in this thing. And she's very sour, and her performance gave me the finger every single time she was on screen. And the graboids looked so bad, and the effects looked obviously cheap. Burt wants to fight back with Nancy until Nancy Sturgood, returned by Charlotte Stewart, calls the authorities, like Agent Charlie Rusk, who takes authority away from Burt. And can I just say, so far, I'm hating this plot because I'm seeing it over 100 times where the authorities don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they act like they know at all. They know it all, but that plot line is the worst. Because how many times am I going to see this plot? My fear is 100 more freaking times. Melvin Plugg, returned by Robert Jane from the first film, is back and owns a business of his own. And next thing you know, Burt gets eaten by a graboid, so that's where it's from. As he runs away, what a freaking coward! And Burt connects with Jack and from inside the body. And here's a question: how can he communicate with someone while inside the body with very little air? I know they have to hear noise, but when he cuts Burt out, how does he know where to get him out at? And what if he accidentally killed him? Just 45 minutes into this movie, and it's making me angry at this point. It's not living up to why the first one was good in the first place. They're surrounded by graboids and shriekers while Jody does all the worrying, while Jack, at the bright side, and are stuck on the rocks all day long until the next day, with Burt and Miguel returned by Tony Gennaro, who was also in the first film, until they distract the graboid by asking Mindy to make some noise over the walkie-talkie, and they manage to escape, and walk back to town, and they find the shrieker that can fly, and the effects on that thing look so bad. If I'm being honest, after then, other than Burt, I don't really care whether these people live or die. Miguel died, and I couldn't care less, honestly. We learned the flying, or should I say, shriekers, can only see heat, and Jody suggests using a bed sheet so they don't see them on the way to Bert's place, while Bert calls Nancy and Mindy, and Jack tells more about himself to Jody. But it's not as worse as I was expecting coming into the series to be total garbage. But I mean, this movie is bad and making me angry, but not as angry as the original two of The Hills Have Eyes. But this one has fun while in Nevada with a bad looking CGI, and we do learn a little more about the graboids each movie going on so far. They fight the graboids and shriekers and ass blasters, and yes, that's what they're calling them because they shot fire out of their ass, which is really funny to me. And they kill all three of them, and they get back to town, and Melvin talks with Bert, but as there's a graboid near them, Bert leaves Melvin while they're on the rock, and Bert takes him off of his truck. And as a climax, it was sort of entertaining in a bad kind of way, meaning it's entertaining, excuse me, but it's just really bad. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 4.0 out of 10. There were times the movie was entertaining, but it's still bad, unfortunately. But it's not garbage yet so far, and I am the newbie in the series, but I don't like the characters except for Bert, as I don't care whether they live or died. And the effects are pretty bad as well, but at the same time, it's fun, but not a good movie either. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Tremors 4. And until next time, it's time to shoot some graboids.